Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren and I make videos about the Charlotte Danielson framework for teaching and teaching videos in general. We are living in, it's 2022, and we're living in a time where teaching is harder than ever. When I speak to teachers who are close to retirement, upwards of 20 years in the fields, they always tell me that they are working harder than ever now. Many teachers have chosen to leave the profession entirely or have given up their tenure and resigned to switch to another district. I recently switched districts. There was a 20% resignation rate within tenured teachers that year. Because we're living in a time where teaching has become very difficult, many teachers that I knew who were very young and had tenure went on leave of absences for medical reasons that had to do with mental health and just never came back. Because we're dealing with this teacher shortage as well as a substitute teacher shortage, many teachers are forced to cover other classes because we don't have enough subs. Sometimes several classes will meet together in the cafeteria or the auditorium with just a single or two substitute teachers covering upwards of 9 classes. So it's a difficult dilemma that we're experiencing nationwide. Because we're in such a strange time to be a teacher, I do think that it's important for those of us who plan on sticking around, at least for now, to reflect on why we became teachers in the first place. Another reason why it's important to meditate on the reasons you chose this profession is because if you do consider leaving your district for another one, or you're a brand new teacher looking for employment, this is a question that will likely be in your interview. So it's good to have the reasons why in your back pocket in case it comes up in an interview. I know that in every teacher interview I've ever been on, I have encountered this question. If you are interested on learning more about how to ace teacher interviews, you can check out my video on that coming soon. So today I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I decided to enter the profession, and these are things I think about on a daily basis to help me get through my day, even on good days, but on bad days it really comes in handy to think about these things. All right, so reason number 1. Every profession is difficult in its own way. Every profession is annoying at times, can be frustrating, exhausting, but not every profession is also fun. Dealing with children is extremely exhausting. They can be really annoying, but kids are fun. Kids are goofy, they joke around. And when I have stuff going on in my personal life, I know that my students are going to cheer me up. I have a really good rapport with most of my students. I enjoy connecting with most of them. You're not gonna, in an ideal world, you connect with every student. That's, not reality. But even so, when things are going on in my life, I wake up and say, thank God that I can go to work. If you are dealing with elementary or kindergartners especially, you can't look away for a second. Every ounce of your attention is spent on them. You barely have time to even look up at the clock to see where you are in this space-time continuum until the bell rings. So while that is a con in the sense that it's exhausting, the fact that you have so many children pulling your energy, demanding your attention, is a really good way to get your mind off things that might be going on in your life. If you're sitting at a cubicle by yourself all day, typing away at a computer, sitting alone with your own thoughts, it's a lot more dreadful to have to get up and go to work and deal with whatever's going on in your personal life and not think about it. And I work in a high school. I joke around with my kids all day, and I really look forward to being in the classroom with them just to, get my mind off things. So I look forward to seeing them when things are going on in my life, and that is the first reason, is that I really do have fun at my job. Kids are fun. Now, the second reason I decided to become a teacher is a little more a meta. So this sounds cliche, but everyone always talks about how your reach as a teacher is very vast, the amount of lives that you can change and blah, blah, blah. While this is very cliche, I do often feel almost shocked by how some of the things that I just say in passing have such an impact on my students. An example of this, when I taught third grade, we had a student who was just so honestly annoying. He was a problem to a lot of the kids, didn't want to, be around him because he would just bother them. And so during recess, one day I said, hey, let's make this origami bird together. And I taught him how to fold the bird, just to keep him away from the other kids and, keep him out of trouble. The next day, he came into class with a stack of 3 books on origami from the library, and then sat through recess for literally the rest of the year practicing origami to the point where this third grader was making more complex designs than I'm even capable of making. And I thought, whoa, I didn't think anything of, he just really took that one little activity I did with him and ran with it. I was really just trying to distract him momentarily, and he just latched onto it, soaked it up like a sponge, and ran with it. In the same year, a girl who would sit by herself during recess, didn't really have any friends, was very introverted. I decided during recess to just ask her to shoot some hoops with me. She said, well, I've never played basketball before. I've never shot hoops before. I don't know how to do it. So I just taught her, like a basic layup and a basic shot, just the form, how to throw it. And so for, every day that week, we would get together at recess and we would just shoot hoops for maybe 5 minutes. That was it. The next year, I saw her in the hallway and said, hey, how are you? How are things going? You're a 4th grader now. And she said, yeah, I signed up for the basketball team. And I thought again, whoa. Just that little sliver of time that I spent with her, she took that and ran with it. I didn't really understand how you think that, you're teaching the content, and the content is what they're going to remember, but it's really not. It's the things that you say and do and aspects of your personality that they're going to take. And when you really calculate the amount of students you have in a class, how many classes you teach a week, and multiply that by the amount of years that you've been a teacher, you can really see the scope and reach of how many. It's raining really hard right now. I might wait for the rain to pass. Okay, that's better, sorry. It's like thundering and lightning, and I'm waiting for it to pass so that I can go to work. Anyways, so the scope of your reach is actually insane. To me, this is very cool. A little piece of you whether a good piece or a bad piece, it's hard to say, but a little piece of you is carried with each of your students potentially forever through their lifetime. And then maybe that little piece of you gets passed on to them when they grow up and they have their own kids and they raise their kids through the lens or influence of that piece of you. So it's actually scary thinking about these things. And again, it's never just the content. Sometimes the kids will never really connect to the content you teach, but something about the way you carry yourself, your personality, your personal interests will rub off on them. I've had kids come back to visit after they graduate and they'll be like, yeah, I remembered that thing you said to me when I was in 4th grade. And I'm like, well, I don't remember saying that. And it's kind of scaring me that you remember that I said that. Like, they really do remember you and certain little quirks about you, things that you said, and it helps shape them, and it's wild. My superintendent calls the role of a teacher the ultimate responsibility. And to sum up reason number 2 that I became a teacher is that you are really in a position of power to raise these kids and influence them in ways that you don't even realize. So it's a privilege, and it's really cool to me that I have such power over the little avenues that these children take. Another student, I coach wrestling. They joined the wrestling team last year probably because they liked me as a teacher and knew that I was the coach. They'd never wrestled in their life. And then wrestling became their thing. And who knows, maybe one day they'll grow up, they'll have children, they'll sign their children up for wrestling, all because they liked me as a teacher and wanted to play a sport that I coached. Insane. Hey guys, this video is getting really long, so I'm going to cut it and make a part 2 as to why I became a teacher. So stay tuned for another video explaining reasons 3, 4, and 5 on why I decided to teach. See you in the next video.